everyone, welcome back to another attacker video. Today we'll be talking about a game between Aio Sakata and Shuchi Kubuchi. So I don't know if I pronounced his name correctly because I don't know Japanese. What I did find out very interestingly is that Shuchi is still alive and he's 99 years old and he became a professional player at the age of 15. So very impressive player that I actually don't know him before I was making this video. So without further ado, let's look at the game that they were playing to illustrate today's attacker idea. So for the past few lectures, we've been talking a lot about some of the principles such as making cash, such as how to get rid of the roots of our opponent. Those obviously are the very basic principles of attacker. But what I find that viewers or players, they struggle with the most is really the pace of attacking. So what do I mean by that? Is that in a lot of games that I see, one side would just keep attacking and actually their opponent end up living with a lot of points, and the attack just went nowhere. It didn't achieve anything. Actually put the attacker extremely behind. That happens a lot. Or a lot of times we attack and we realize all of our attacking stones are not doing anything on the board. Right, they're facing a wall or they're facing some sort of a life group, and there's no compensation for those attacks. So how could we manage the pace of attacking? How can we always achieve our objectives, such as enclosing territory, or just constantly, giving our opponent insecurities, and then we can benefit. It's kind of like your savings, right? Your opponent's insecurity becomes a saving, and you keep collecting interest on your savings. Today we'll be looking at this game that illustrates very, very well the pace of attacking. So Aio is playing as black. The last move, white decided to make a monkey's face and then just hop out. It looks like the group is out. There's not much connection problems either for white. So for example, if you just Atari here, white can connect over here. Not really a lot of connection problems for white. So, but then if we don't attack white, it just seems like we are playing a very calm endgame, right? We're moving towards endgame, and it doesn't look very promising for black actually, because white has a nice corner on the bottom right and also on the bottom left. What black has is a little bit of points over here, and then a very unstable corner, I'd say, because when white hopping anytime, black is not able to kill it, and then you just have to share your territory with white. And obviously moves like this that encloses just not very promising, because white can also play out big moves and then compensate for what you've enclosed. So we really have to target the dragon, but it is a very difficult task. A lot of players would just be tempted to say, hey, you know what, let me just attack from top, right? This is what we usually do when we attack. We cap white, from top, but that's the move that I'm talking about. It's that those kind of moves that doesn't have a clear objective. What are you trying to accomplish as black when you make this move? Well, it does help the bottom a little bit, but it doesn't really accomplish that much, because when white hops out, not only white has a great shape, now black has a lot of things to watch out actually. There's a Hane at P11. That's a very strong weakness that black can aim at for his counterattack. And also this dragon, after this move, start to feel the insecurity. So all of a sudden, after an exchange, we have insecurities. Let's say you try to fix one of them. White can just now hop at K13, and now all of a sudden we can see that your stone is in a very weird place. It is very hard to tell what this move is accomplishing on the board. It's not making any points, and then it's facing a very solid 3-3 corner, and then it just doesn't help the top right side either. So this is what ends up happening all the time when I watch, especially for players in the single digit Q level, as well as in the Dan level, sometimes including myself, my attacks are just meaningless. They don't accomplish anything. So let's look at some other examples, right? If you say, hey, maybe, you know what, I think the K11 is a better direction because I can start building on the left side. That's actually a lot better move. This really looks at the insecurity in White's connection. However, this move is still not optimal because White can now play a bamboo shape. When Black extends, sure, you gain a lot of benefits over here, but now you need to watch out because the first principle for the invader, if you have watched my series Invader, is the idea of counterattack. Because White is not just gonna run by himself. If White actually plays out like this, yeah, that's the fastest way to actually lose the game. But White is gonna go for a counter attack, and then this is very serious because after a couple pushes, when White descends and cut off the connection, what is Black going to do here, right? So this dragon is in huge trouble. But let's say now you escape. This Hane is extremely big because it encloses the side over here. Right, this is a typical follow-up that White can play out. So that White is going to gain so much compensation on the top right side. Let's say, for example, honestly, I don't even know how Black is going to respond. Probably something like this. White can just go ahead and maybe connect over here, right? We can see that White's corner is a lot bigger than before, and then Black still has not enclosed anything over here. Even if you get this one, not all this is your territory. White can invade over here, White can invade over here, White can make use of the things I've talked about in Invader series and then test your corner out. So this will still be a very unclear game moving on, right? Not sure if Black's leading. It's a very long game that you have to play out. And if Black just goes ahead and fixes a weakness, this is really, really slow because White can now take the vital point, preventing Black from going at K11. And this is actually getting White out and also preventing Black from having any sort of influence. If Black gets greedy and actually take the very crucial point, this is going to happen again. So White is going to cut off the connection and then start threatening Black's group, or White can just play on the outside, forcing Black to connect over here and then counter strike with an invasion. So in either cases, the game becomes quite playable for White. It's very difficult for Black to manage. So let's examine what Ayo Sakata actually played out in this game. In the actual game, Ayo Sakata decided to attach at h2. This move doesn't look like anything of an attack, right? It just doesn't look like an attacking move. White is already out. You might be asking a question, well, what are you doing, IEO? You know, white is out, right? We need to cap him in. We need to attack from the side. But IEO just tells you, you know what? Let me connect everything I have on the board, making sure that all my groups are secure, making sure that, you know, I have no weaknesses for you to counterattack, and then we'll deal with your group later. And this is the pace that I was talking about earlier in this video. This is some sort of grandmaster idea, right? Before you attack, you make sure you get rid of all your weaknesses, and you actually take the time to do that, and then not rushing to actually attack white. And then all of a sudden you will realize that your opponent actually does not have a good move to follow up. Say, for example, if white just hops like this, black can peep once and then play k16. This is a horrible outcome for white because these two moves that white played was traded with the k16 move. We can clearly tell the difference is that k16 move is absolutely huge. And then these guys, they're not generating anything. Just an exchange like this, it's a loss of 10 points for white. And then white cannot really afford that kind of loss. So an h2 looks very soft, very gentle, but actually is the best move for attacking. And this is definitely a game that where I learned so much about the pace of attacking, is that so many times we don't have to rush, right? We can just play this one out, getting a little bit of points over here, and then wait for our opponent. We make ourselves solid, and we just stay there and wait, and that's perfectly fine because white is out. But how long does white have to play to connect to the 3/3 stone or go to the side? It takes forever. So why do you rush? You know, why not just fix all your weaknesses and then wait for the opportunity? This is a perfect game that illustrates you the pace of attack, basically. Well, let's see how white's gonna follow up. This becomes really strange, right? White plays a move, he's out, but then after this move, white does not know what to do. If white plays out this honey, well, we can tell this is a useless move because black can just extend. This exchange, this P11 stone is useless. It doesn't generate any points, but black's Q12 stone is huge. The next move, there's a follow-up at R15, which encloses a lot of points for black. If white keeps going, black is going to keep extending. The more white pushes in this direction, the faster he's going to lose because all these exchanges are extremely beneficial for black. And the only reason that black can afford to play all these moves is because everything is secured. Everything is connected as one group for black. So let's say, for example, if white jumps over here, well, what's going to be the outcome? Well, pretty much the same thing. Black's going to follow up with the K16, right? When our idea is correct, it's so easy to play out because we know what we're doing. Any move that white plays over here has no value. We can just take what is big on the board, which is why in the actual game, white decided to actually take the valuable move. So this is probably the most challenging choice. This is the choice that gives the most challenge to black. So this leaves no choice for black but to attack white. And now, once we are solid, we can hit really hard, right? We hop back. This is the pace, right? We hop back and now we hit really hard when our opponent does not respond. The K11 move causes tactical problems. If white hops out, there's immediately a cut over here. If white blocks over here, black is going to cut. And then there's a Miai. Black is Atari at M12 and connecting at N10. So if white fix over here, this is going to happen, and that's just disasters for white. But let's say if white connects over here, obviously that's just game over. It's even worse because the entire dragon just got killed. If white pushes over here, black can also cut off. When white Ataris, black actually has a Tsuji, that is Atari from behind. When white captures, black can just extend out. And then we can tell that the entire dragon is killed, and nothing will compensate for the loss that white has here, right? This flower is not going to compensate for the dragon loss. Which is why in the actual game, white had to absolutely play a bamboo shape. Probably AI would suggest you to actually play this one out, but after black extends, it's still very, very difficult because when you jump out, black has a perfect spot that splits both group, and that's just the pace of attack. Right? The more you try to do this, the more dangerous it is for your K17 stone. So white basically is just in a very difficult situation. In the actual game, the idea is pretty similar. When white plays out this one, we can tell this N11 stone becomes so useless because our group is completely connected. The next move, and that's probably the best move, that's I wouldn't say the best move, but actually the most beautiful move, is play this shoulder hit. Such a clear idea, clear direction. That makes the go look so easy in front of a 9p. So the idea being that if you push out, I can either extend or I can jump. Right, the more move you exchange over here, the worse it is for your dragon. The more you try to run the dragon, the worse it is for your K17 stone. You can take care of both sides, and that's just at this point it is game over for players at their level, because the game becomes so clear, such that a white's dragon has a long way to go before it can connect to the 3/3 stone. And then in this process, white's going to be taxed everywhere. The K17 stone has to struggle to live himself. The 3/3 stone might later on get a shoulder hit and get pressed, and this dragon just never gets home. In the entire game, the momentum is completely in black's control. And that's pretty much game over for 9p professionals. Maybe for amateur levels, still unclear, but the idea is so clear for any professionals that this is very, very difficult for white. So these are the moves that I want to talk about today. Let's just recap them. Really not that many. The first thing, which is the most important thing, is for us to understand the page. Understand, we as the attackers, we also have weaknesses. So we want to fix those weaknesses before we attack. We can just let white play, and actually white has no good follow-up. We said that if any moves that white play close to this region, black can just take big territory elsewhere, which is why in the actual game white decided to just grab territory to keep the balance. But now we can, once we have solid groups, we can forge a strong attack. Causing tactical problems, white is forced to play a bamboo shape, and then beautiful idea, right? Just a nice move that cut off the connection over here, and we can see the momentum is just black's performance from now on, right? We already said that it's either this one get hurt or this dragon has to worry or even die, right? So very, very clean, right? After 3 moves, a 9p professional just can't even struggle anymore. It's just game over right here because of ideas. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time.